What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today you guys are about to actually watch one of the sales calls I had last week in our Level Up Mastermind. Now if you guys are interested in joining, you can either hit the link in the description. You can also go to my Facebook, my Instagram, and click the link in my bio and you'll see a sign up there. But again, guys, this is going to go over how you can make a bunch more money and go back and save deals that you've lost in the past. Now, again, like I said, guys, this is just probably going to be a 20-minute video after here, and this is me talking to our mastermind students. So again, guys, if you like what you see here, you're interested in joining, please hit the link in the description or go over to my Instagram, Gino_Palumba, and please fill out the form, and we'll get a hold of you. Ryan will, and we'd love to have you. So again, guys, just to rephrase, this is going over our setting expectations of our sales call last week in the Level Up Mastermind. This will make you a bunch of money, and it will save you from sellers ghosting you for eternity. So, guys, again, if you're getting some value from this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching. So today's setting expectations. So we're going to go over it both on the lead management side and the acquisition management side. So I guess here we go. I'll just talk about it. I'll do a little I guess we're not really role play, but I'll go over it and, tell you guys some of the important things about it. But first, let's go into this intro. It's very quick. We don't have a whole section on it, our whole call dedicated to it because it's pretty simple. This is as if, they get a text lead. These intros change. We also have a TV intro or like an inbound intro, which you guys have access to on the drive. But like, for example, hey, Mr. Seller, it's Gino. I'm calling you because you texted my assistant Hannah or spoke with, depending if it's a cold call or text lead, right? Self-explanatory. With my assistant Hannah about your property on 123 Main Street. And obviously we're going to put the property address. We'll pause and say, I probably caught you at a bad time. And very important words, got that from Steve Trang, probably caught you at a bad time. You're not asking if you have enough time to talk or do you have time to speak. We all know that's very salesy when you ask someone, do you have 5 minutes to talk? Very salesy, already sets the conversation up where the seller's already got their hands up, ready to protect themselves from being sold. Also, we're going for the opposite of what everyone else is talking to them every single day. Like there's hundreds of people cold calling these people, right? 10. I had one little seller told me that literally she had 15 calls, which could be exaggerating, but talked to 15 people one day about selling her home. So like we want to sound different, right, guys? And if you guys want to find a video that really explains why we go negative, right, probably caught you at a bad time. If you want to find the true reason why we do that, you guys can watch a video. It's called Going for the No that Chris Voss has on YouTube. So Going for the No. All right. So let me put this on here. Let me make sure I have everyone muted. Yeah, if everyone can mute themselves. And then we'll ask some questions. We'll get into it. But yeah, so we want to go for that no, right? We want to go for the no, go negatives, don't sound like anyone else. And it will put us in a good position because when I say I probably caught you at a bad time, Cyrus, you're going to rescue me because I sound like a lost puppy dog. That's how Steve says it, right? You're going to say, no, it's a good time to talk. And already I got your tone of voice up. I got you more interested in talking with me. And that's going to set me up now for a good call, right? So very important little things there. They all have a little science to it, right? I'm not the one that came up with it, but makes sense, right? If you didn't catch me at a bad time, obviously we're going to go into expectations. What if they say, yeah, you did, I'm busy right now? Well, obviously we don't want to do this whole entire call with someone that's not paying attention / busy. So we'll just quickly reschedule to the soonest time, right? So let's say they are ready. Let's go into setting expectations, right? We got to lay out what this call is going to look like for us. And I've said it every single time we go over it, but if we don't do this, we can't get mad at a seller for not following our instructions. And what I mean by that is when I first started calling people, I would just say, go into it, just start talking, building rapport. I had no sales process. And what would happen is I would have sellers that would just take me on a whirlwind and, the call would never turn into something. I would never get their price. I would never, be able to set them up with an offer. I would never give them an offer and I would never get information about their property because I never set the expectation on what this call is about. And what we've all definitely had this happen to us is where we have sellers. What's my offer? What's my offer? What is my offer? You hear sellers like that and you can't get mad at them for asking that because you didn't tell them how the situation or how the process is going to work. So if you're getting that a bunch, if you start following these expectations, it's an easy way to quickly prevent those from happening as much. I mean, they're always going to happen, but prevent those as much from happening. So, right, let's go into it, guys. So again, this is on the lead manager side. So someone on your first time, maybe that person just came into your CRM and you're just calling them for the first time. And so what we're going to simply do, hey, thanks for taking my call, Rose Vaughn. Is it okay if I share with you, how we work before we get started? Of course, you can say, okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm just going to ask you some questions about your property and situation. And if you feel we're not a fit at any time, please let me know and I'll do the same. Seem fair. So let's take it line by line. Thanks for taking my call. Is it okay if I share with you how we work before we get started? We're asking for their permission for us to explain to them how this process works. 99% of the time, of course, they say yes. Now you're letting them know, hey, the next sentence here, I'm going to ask you some questions about your property situation. Very important. We're going to tell them this because guess what happens when you start going over that right here, your property condition, and they start telling you, Gino, why are you asking me all these questions? You don't need to know all this stuff. Well, you remember, I did tell you that I have to ask you these questions and know more about your property and situation. This is going to help me get a better idea of, if we're a fit or not, right? You being able to reference back to same expectations, you can use that as leverage, right? And you can use that as your backbone of why you're asking these questions. Now, next line here, if you feel we're not a fit at any time, please let me know and I'll do the same. Seem fair. This is, a big one here, right? You're giving the seller permission, right? We all know especially when like car salesmen or people call us up and they're, trying to sell us on stuff. We feel like, obviously our, hands are up. We're freaking protecting ourselves. We don't want to be sold. No one wants to be sold or feel pressured into selling. And so when we tell a seller, if you feel we're not a fit at any time, please let me know and I'll do the same. Well, by us allowing them to let us know that, please let me know. Now they feel like they have control over this conversation. They feel like they can dictate what happens next. They feel like, hey, now I'm the one in control because I can tell them at any time we're not a fit. And that way, I'm not being sold. And again, they're telling themselves this subconsciously because they know that now they have power. And we want them to, because reality is if they feel we're not a good fit, we want them to tell us that right away so we can get on to that next seller, right, guys? We want to be able to disqualify fast, get through the needle in the haystack and move to the next one. And we also gave ourselves permission, and I will do the same. Seem fair, right? I'll do the same if I feel we're not a fit at any time. I'll let you know. Very important, because now, guess what happens? When we're 3 minutes or 4 minutes in the call, I think we talked about this last week, and our lead manager knows that we're not going to be a fit. The guy's telling you, I want high price, I want market price, I don't have a reason to sell. Well, now we can go to them and tell the seller, remember when I told you, in the beginning that I was going to let you know if we're not a good fit? Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you right now, Logan, I don't feel like we're a good fit. It just seems like we're not the best, fit for you right now. And you being able to tell the seller that, going referencing back, the seller can't get mad at you because he literally told you that you were, that you can do that, right? So let's keep going, guys. And I'll do the same. Seem fair. Of course, that's fair. Seller responds. Okay. And also, if we are a good fit, then we will transfer you over to, I will transfer you over. So I will transfer you over to my home buying specialist, or we'll schedule a call where a home buying specialist will present you with the number your property qualified for. Is that okay? Again, setting up what's going to happen if we are a fit. So break it down line by line. If we are a good fit, we'll transfer you over to one of my home buying specialists or schedule a call where a home buying specialist will present you the number your property qualified for. I guess that's a run-on sentence, but at the end of the day, what's happening there? We're telling them what's going to happen if we are a good fit and letting them know that we're not the one that comes up with the offer. And we tell them that our home buying specialist will present you with the number your property qualified for. Two things there. We say qualified for, just again, to subconsciously plant that in the seller's head. When you hear qualified for, right? When you go to the bank or you get a credit card and they tell you qualify for $10,000 credit limit, it doesn't really sound negotiable. I mean, to most people, that's what I get. I can't negotiate. So we can subconsciously stick that in their head that this is what their property qualified for. They're going to feel like as if, our goal is, right? Obviously we still have to negotiate, but this is going to put a little implant in their head that, hey, this is a number that can't be negotiable, right? And another thing here, right, is, we're letting them know that we also could transfer them over, which is very important. We're letting them know we can transfer them over. And I've told you guys before this, we started doing this in our organization in the beginning of the year. Instead of just setting appointments, and again, we're all over we're all over the phone, virtual appointments anyway, guys. We don't go in person. But instead of doing that, and, making it a separate call, another appointment call, right? Where, hey, we'll set you up with Jared, our home buying specialist, tonight at 6 p.m. We started just live transferring to our acquisition managers, our home buying specialists. And this helped us. I think it's helped us complete 30% more appointments. We were closing or completing 50% of our appointments before. So we would set 10 appointments, only 5 would get completed, but that was because we couldn't get the sellers back on the phone. So we quickly fixed that by transferring them just simply live. There's no way they can't get on the phone then, because they're getting live transferred to a home buying specialist. So we set the sellers up with that idea that you will be, if we're a good fit, we'll transfer you over to a home buying specialist. But we also implant them, or, again, if that home buying specialist isn't ready or fits our criteria to get transferred, we will just schedule a call where they'll present you with the number your property qualified for. Is that okay? Of course. Last thing about this paragraph here, what is the biggest thing here? Biggest thing here is now when a seller tells you, like we're talking about earlier, what's my offer? What's my offer? What's my offer? Well, Mr. Seller, I know you said it was okay for us, for me to gather this information. And you did say it was okay that, I was going to let you know that our home buying specialist will present you with that number. Remember, it wasn't me. Remember when I told you that, if I felt we're a good fit, and then I'll transfer you over to our home buying specialist. Remember, it wasn't me that was going to give you a number. He was going to let you know what it qualified for. Oh, you're right, Gino. Okay, well, what more do you need from me to make it, you feel like you're a fit, right? So there we can turn the conversation. We can let the sellers know. We can pin it back to them. Hey, remember I asked you, I already told you, I'm not the one that makes the offers. It was my home buying specialist is the one that, qualifies what the property is, what we can pay for the property. So can we just, can I ask you a little bit more about, maybe the condition of the property? And again, you can use that now. So you can now, instead of just letting the seller bite into you the seller bite into you and attack you. Hey, what's my offer? What's my offer? You can now leverage this setting expectations to now get further into the conversation, because they're going to realize and they're going to say, you're right. You did tell me that. And of course, we always have that 1 in 100 seller that's just rude. Just no, I don't care. I don't want to wait for him. What are you going to give me? Well, I just see, and I'm going to be honest, it doesn't seem like we're a good fit right now. It sounds like you don't even really want to sell. And again, we'll go on from there. But anyway, guys, do you have this again from a lead manager perspective? Do you guys have any questions on this right here? For a lead manager, again, setting expectations. Do you have questions, comments, concerns? Anything, guys? It's a free reign out here.
What are you guys using to do the live transfer? Is that just a Salesforce thing, or?
Yeah, it's Salesforce. But that's what we're using right now. We can do it through the dialer or the call system we have in Salesforce. What do you use, Dawn?
I use Simply, so that they don't offer that. So I do want to maybe start doing it, but I'm not sure what the options are.
What's the call center? What call? You're already Simply, but what's this call?
I use Batch Dial. I know they use it.
Okay.
I know they have a live transfer thing on there. I'm not sure if I want to have my lead manager start calling through Batch Dialer yet or not.
Yeah, I don't like the dialers through. I don't like Batch Dialer. And let me say this: we use a dialer in our CRM, but it's only dialing leads in our CRM, and they're only dialing the CRM leads that we can't really get a hold of, or people that are like, we need a mass dial, right? For example, we have working leads. I know you guys probably know what that is. That's leads that entered our system that said they wanted to sell, whether from a texting campaign, a TV inbound lead. And, we just haven't gotten a hold of them yet in our CRM. Now we might have had the texter text them, but we can't get a hold of them as lead managers. Those are working leads. And we'll nail those in a dialer and smartphone acts as a dialer through our Salesforce, and we'll just dial through all those people. Now, I don't want to use Batch Dialer, our call tools and all that. It's kind of different. So, I didn't know if you had an actual call provider. In Podia, I used to use smartphone. So I don't know, again, already Simply what they have, but.
Yeah, I'll start looking into that a little bit more. It's something like that.
And again, it'll just help us get our appointments completed more, allow us to talk to more sellers and offer to more sellers, because, we're getting transferred right to them. That was the whole reason we did it.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
Gino, I have a question for you. So what you guys are presenting, obviously, it's like a current snapshot of you guys' business. And obviously, you guys are hitting really good numbers. You've expanded. But now if you go back in time, a year from now,
Mm-hmm.
How was your guys' business set up? Because right now you're transferring it. You have the initial text, the lead manager, the acquisition manager, right? So you have this internal transfer. But did you guys initially just had one person handle the I guess the lead management call and then also handle the offer call? Or how did you guys had it set up like
Yeah, good
12 months
question.
ago?
We've always, since I've been here, I got a lead manager was before I got an acquisition manager. And that was like back in 2019. I've had a lead manager, and I would be the guy that gives offers as an acquisition manager until 2020. So I always had a position like this. The scripts were never the same. Like this is, we're changing stuff all the time in the sales process, but it was where the lead manager would do most follow-ups, all the follow-ups and warm up leads and then pass it to me and make offers. But to answer your question, a year ago, we had probably 2 or 3 lead managers and 1 acquisition. And now, we just hired 2 more. We have 6 total LMs, 2 as of today and 3 AMs. So that's just the same process though.
So you always had that transfer from LM to AM. You never had it just one person.
Now, of course, you can do it. And we've had this talk before on here. Like you can easily do this with just a 1-person team or 1-person acquisition team. You would just obviously change the things, right? Hey, if we're a good fit, then what I'll do is I'll talk to my finance department and I'll call you back in 5 minutes to let you know what that property qualified for.
Exactly, yeah. Because I went through you guys' scripts. I mean, they're like really similar in a way that I was like, you might as well just have 1 person call, get in contact with our evaluation guy, get the offer, and then call back and say, hey, this is Max. I had a conversation 5 minutes ago because you've built this report again.
Yeah.
So you can cut that 10 minutes of like building the report if you're the new guy coming in asking all the questions, right? So I was thinking about that.
Yeah, so we don't try to this lead manager call. They're not building that much rapport. They're trying to get in, get out, figure out why this person has to sell. Not digging that much rapport, not even digging into that much motivation. We've changed it a lot recently where they're just trying to ask them, hey, what had you thinking of selling? And maybe ask one of these questions. They, as in the lead managers, only ask one of these questions. See really if there's pain. If you sniff it at all, hey, don't go any deeper. Leave that for the acquisition manager, the home buying specialist to do that. Leave the rapport for them. I mean, obviously, if you start talking about mutual things, keep talking. But like this call right here is just as efficient as possible. Because you're not here. This isn't where we're trying to build rapport, big, deep discounts, motivation. We're just here trying to, get our process filled out. And obviously at the same time, build some sort of connection with the seller so she remembers us, or he. But it's not one that we're like spending our whole efforts on and banking on rapport and motivation, So the kind of thing, if you could do 1 person and have it, but like our LMs, they're just getting in, out, obviously you have a little connection, but they're saving that for an AM to dig deep into all this stuff.
This might be a little bit of an unrelated question, but like, does you guys' AM also evaluate the property, or who's doing it in you guys'?
So right now they all evaluate it, and they get checked though. I mean, like Jared, our main AM, like he'll double check on some of them. So will I. I'll review them after the call, but that's the hardest thing. That's the last thing I'll give away is, having them evaluate stuff. But
so you still do most of that?
I used to do most of it. Yeah. That was the last thing I did, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. But any other LM questions, guys?
Yeah, Gino, I got a question. So what's the biggest key points that differentiates the role between the dialer partner and the lead manager on your end?
What do you say dialer partner? What do you mean by that?
Lead gen.
Lead gen, okay. Yeah, so if you're talking about a cold caller or are you talking about lead gen?
Yeah, like what's the difference between a lead gen person building rapport? How far do you want them to dig deep that transfers over to the lead manager versus how much rapport building does the lead manager do that builds up to the acquisition?
Yeah, good question. I would say on a scale, like if I'm looking on a scale, it would go from like less cold callers, texters. They don't need to build rapport. I mean, obviously texters, you can't really do much over the text, but a cold caller, I would rather be bare minimum, right? Maybe on a scale 1 to 10, like a 2 to 3 max, and then LMs 5 to 6, and then AMs, I mean 9 to 10, really 8 to 10. So I would rather a cold caller, be very minimal. Obviously, if it gets into something that, the seller, wants to talk more about things, go ahead and do that. But at the same time, we want to just see if a seller's, hey, you're looking to sell, great. let me get some of that information that I'm going to ask you. Let me get your timeline, your situation, and then I'm going to push you over to our home buying specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And our
And
home
is
buying
the,
specialist, but our lead managers are.
no, you're good. And is there a reason why you a dollar partner or cold caller would not push a lead over? Is there a determining factor on your end?
Yeah, there's determining factors as if their timeline is just they don't have them. So there's multiple things, right? One, if they're asking, crazy price, right? They're asking $1 million on a Zillow value of a home of 200,000, right? They're not going to get pushed over. They shouldn't get pushed over. Another reason might be that they don't want to sell for another 3+ years, right? In that case, they're not really going to get pushed over. Any other reason? I mean, if they're hostile too, that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck, dudes. I mean, fucking give me an offer, do this, like blah, blah, blah. Like the reality is, I mean, that's a rarity, but that person's not going to be worth our time,
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there really is a cold caller. They're trying to get as much pushed over. We've changed our mindset a lot. We used to qualify. We used to qualify really hard, like a lead manager, like this script. Like I'm talking about like 2 years ago. Then last year we stopped being that strict, but we would still not push people that were asking retail prices. And then now, like within the last year, so that was last year. Within the last year, we've now done it to where just anyone that wants to sell, push them over.
That's right? Great, yeah.
Because now we have lead manager capacity. Now it all depends, guys. You're hearing this like, okay, should we do that? But it all depends on your capacity. I have, we just hired 2 more lead managers, but we've had 4 lead managers working, 40 hours a week every day. So I can't afford to push more leads now, even if they're not as qualified, because these guys can get through them. There's 4 of them. If you're by yourself, then you might say, hey, I want to train my cold caller to qualify leads more. So I don't have to spend my time, even though my job is a lead manager, I don't have to spend my time qualifying as much or as deep, right? Because now you're only a one-man team. You only have so much of yourself. But, again, like I said, I'm not saying that's the right way what we do, but again, it just depends on your team, where you guys are at.
No, that makes total sense. Thanks, man.
Yeah, good question, man.
Hey, can I piggyback off of that real quick? On the Google Drive, there's a cold call
script, right?
That's actually like really, really good.
Yeah, that was the one that we used like a year plus ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you guys were still using that.
No, so we don't. I got to update it. Vivian, remind me to do that. Your Hellies, remind me to do that or / just push the new one in there. Marion has it actually, Vivian. But yeah, we have a new one now that's a lot less than that. Like it's just asking timeline and a little bit of motivation. And it's a lot less bare. But yeah, that was the one we used for a while.
I got you.
It's a good one. I mean, it's a definitely good one for a one-man team or even a smaller team. That was a good one for qualification.
Yeah, we don't use it for cold calling actually, but my text messengers they actually do.
Yeah, that's a good thing to follow.
So like once they get some interest, they'll jump on the phone with the lead and they'll run through that script, and that actually has been working pretty well.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to do. That's a good thing to add in there. It's not bad. But any other stuff right here on this diagnosis, setting expectations part? All right, so what we'll do, guys, is I'll go in here and say next. Now, this is the offer call. This is the home buying specialist is going to make that offer. The lead manager set them up for the offer now. All right, so now we're going to set the stage or set an expectation. Same thing here, right? For this call. Now, let's maybe hit some of this too in the beginning, this intro. Hey, seller, this is Jared. The LM's name. Let's say it's Max. Schedule me to give you a call this time. Is it still good for you? Or if they just got live transferred, obviously it's different. Hey, if it's live transferred, guys, this is something to put in too as well. If you're getting a live transfer, how we treat it is like a survey kind of in the beginning. Hey, how you doing? Michael, I know you just talked to Max. How did Max do? Did he take care of you? Yeah, Max was great. Okay, perfect. Did he answer all your questions? Did he explain to you how we work? Yeah, he did everything. He told me that you're now going to let me, you're going to present me an offer and let me know what it qualified for. And so we'll start playing that game at like the AM or home buying specialist will act more like a survey. That's how I always did it. That's how I tell the guys to do it. Hey, just start it off on a good note. Like, hey, how did the lead manager do? Again, that's when a live transfer hits. And even if it's not a live transfer, you can still do that. Obviously, we'll build some rapport. You guys heard me say this multiple times. I would even kind of take this out of building rapport, the label of this, just like this is just finding mutual ground. But I don't want to spend ever as long as I want to spend probably 15, 30 seconds on this. The true rapport, which I've told you guys, which, we'll go over it during the motivation week, is motivation. This is where the true rapport is, when someone has empathy towards you and when you show empathy, excuse me, towards the seller, that's where true rapport is built, when they feel like you understand them. That's the real rapport. So, I mean, I know I said build rapport here, but build common ground. And then we're going into setting the stage, guys, right? So how do we set the stage or set expectations on the offer call? So I'll go something like, hey, great, Max. So I spoke with our finance department and they did let me know what the property qualified for. But before we talk about that, I would like to share with you, typically how these calls go and about what it would look like if you did decide to work with us. Is that okay? Max, say, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, Max. So first I would let you know what the property qualified for. And if you did decide to move forward, then I would send over a written agreement, never contract. We never say contract. I would send over a written agreement to your email and we'd both go through that together. Are you currently in the position to be able to do that? Max, obviously, I'm going to go through the whole thing on this one. Yeah, I'm in the position. Okay, great. So at the end of the conversation, Max, all I ask for you is to give us a confident yes or no decision. And if you decide you not want to work with us, that's perfectly fine too. Seem fair? Yeah, it's fair, Gino. I'm fine giving you a no. Okay. Also, at the end of the call, I will just connect you to one of our, customer service agents. It would mean a lot to me if you could let them know how I did today and how I treated you. Would that be okay? Perfect. Thanks. And there it is, right? Now, what if he says, I'm currently not in a position to be able to do that? We will reschedule a call. Okay, I understand. When would be a better time to talk? That way we can do everything at once, right? And that means everything at once, meaning go over the agreement. This is what it goes with, right? Now let's break it down by paragraph here. Great. So I spoke with finance department. Again, we're blaming someone else. This other person gave us this number to let me know what your property qualified for. But before we do that, I'd like to share with you how these calls work. Typical stuff, setting it up. That be okay. Confirmation for them. Great. I'll let you know what the property qualified for. Again, example number 2, where we bring it up, qualified for, actually 3, right? We bring it up. We're putting in their head. This is what it qualified for. Again, to plant that in them. If you did decide that you would like to move forward, then I would send over a written agreement to your email and we both go through that together. Already letting them know, hey, if we are fit, we're going to send over that agreement and we're going over it together. Now when they tell you at the end, hey, I just want to go over it with myself. No, like I said, the only reason I was able to even give you this offer, Mr. Seller, let you know what the property qualified for is because you said that it was fair, for us, or you agreed that we go through that together. That was the only way I was allowed to. It's company policy to do that. And so again, you can go back and reference that when they tell you that. Hey, you remember you said that it was okay, that we could do that together. And then you also asked them, are you in the position to be able to do that? What we saw, guys, and I know I talked about it last time we were on this, is we were seeing probably about February, we were giving, going through this whole thing. They said, yeah, I would be able to go through that together with you. But then they would be like, well, I can't, we'd give an offer, we would present them everything and they would agree to it. And then they would say, well, I can't go over the offer right now. I'm driving home from school or I'm with my kids and I can't do it right. Well, I'm confused. I thought you said you would be able to, when I send over that written agreement, we would both be able to go through that together. Like, yeah, I can. I just can't do it right now. And really what would happen is, I think half the time when that happened, like 4 or 5 times, half of that time, the sellers are really just going and, price shopping us. And they were able to do that because we're able to, I'm muting myself, but we're able to tell them, we didn't tell them that we had to go through it right now. Right. So I mean, a pin like, so that's very important, right? We're asking them, are they in the position to do that now? Now let's go here again at the end. At the end of our conversation, all I ask for is a confident yes or no decision. If you did decide not to work with us, that's perfectly fine too. Seem fair. So important. Again, like I told you guys in the beginning of setting expectations on the diagnosis script, doing this and letting them know that they can tell us no and letting them know we need a yes or no, it just clears the air, right? Because we've got, we all hear it and we still hear it today. Oh, well, maybe, I got to talk to my husband. Well, I'm confused. You told me you would be able to give me a confident yes or no. And now, and again, there's the whole reason we're doing this, guys, so we can go back and reference this, right? You told me you give me a confident yes or no. Now you're telling me maybe. So what changed? Because you told me it was fair for me to expect a yes or no. Well, I'll be honest, Gino. I mean, I looked more at this, that offer, and I just need more money. And so sometimes you can uncover a lot of hidden roadblocks or objections when you go back and reference these parts. Also, what does this do? Like we mentioned earlier, is this brings their guard down, right? We all know sellers got their guard up, their hands up. again, like I said to you before, they don't want to be sold. They want to feel like they're being sold. And, they just don't want that pressure, that awkward pressure. And so when you're telling them, hey, I know it's perfectly okay, that's fine too. But does that seem fair if you can give me a yes or no? It's again relieving that pressure or that pain from the seller, that awkwardness about them saying no, because now we're telling them, just give us a yes or a no, and no is perfectly okay. So very important there. And final thing here, guys, we added in the last month. Also, at the end of the call, I will just connect you to one of our customer service agents. It would mean a lot to you. It would mean a lot if you could let them know how I did today. Would that be okay? And guys, for you don't know, we went over this, our survey call, right? And what it is, our survey call. I won't go in too much detail because we did have a video about this, but our survey call is a way that we can have another, well, obviously we're transferring them after the offer call, and we're going to have another home buying specialist, our AM, pretty much act as a customer service rep and call and, get connected to the seller after this call if it did not turn into a contract, and figure out why it didn't. And what you guys will see is that, and I've talked about this many times in other videos, when another person calls and is acting as a customer service agent, it goes back to the point of the seller's guard is completely down. When you tell them, okay, I'm going to transfer you over to my customer service agent. Again, this is at the end of the call. You're asking them the permission in the beginning, but at the end of the call, you would transfer them over. When you get to do this, and when they start talking to your customer service rep, their guard's completely down. I mean, when we think of customer service reps, we think of people that have no power, no decision-making skills, again, in the company. You talk to an American Express customer service rep, you're just like, yeah, okay, I'll tell you everything you want. I don't care. You're not going to do anything with it. But the fact of the matter is, we equip our home buying specialists as customer service reps. So if Jared, our home buying specialist 1, transfers it over to Stelly, which is home buying specialist 2, Stelly's going to act like customer service representative, but he's going to dig into the objections to figure, hey, did Jared, solve your problem here? Oh, no, he didn't. What happened? What would you want him to do? And start figuring out things. So I won't go any more detail about that, but this allows us to simply do that because we set the expectation. So when at the end of the call, we haven't agreed on a price, no terms, you can simply go back to this. Also, remember when I told you in the beginning, Mr. Seller, that I would want to transfer you over to our customer service representatives? That way you can let them know how I did today. Would that still be okay? Yeah, it would be. You told me you were going to do that earlier. Okay, perfect. Let me do it now. And you will transfer it over. So again, all these have meanings. Every sentence here has a meaning behind it, importance behind it. Hopefully I did a good job explaining it to you guys. Do you have any questions about this? Again, on the offer call side of things? Any questions on this? Other useful?
Yeah, Gino, I have a question.
What's up?
So what's up? I'm a one-man band, so I'm just trying to figure out how would you phrase these things if it's just
the survey call?
Yeah, survey call, and even I guess I could blame the finance department on like a business partner. But what about the survey call as well?
Yeah, finance department, blame it on, just say finance department. It sounds like legit. You could always say partner, but finance department's fine. Is your partner, does he handle any sales stuff? Or you said you're just one man?
Yeah, I'm one man band.
Hey, one suggestion I would say for one man bands is leverage your JV partners. I mean, leverage somebody that you could have hop on the phone. This is a quick tip.
Okay.
Yeah, you could use someone else, like someone you're really close to in your market. Tell him to survey call them, and you guys could like do something because you didn't get the deal. And so if he can resurrect or find some hidden objection, it might be worth a partnership on the deal, right? And he does the same for you. You guys can work together. Or worst case scenario, it could be you again, and just say, hey, can I ask you some questions about how I did today?
Okay.
Now, at the same time, I think you're having another person do it is way better. But at worst case scenario, you could do that because they're going to still be hidden to you. They're not going to tell you the true objections when they're talking to you still. But you can still use that as your excuse to dig deeper. And what I mean by that is now that you're a customer service rep, you can ask them more uncomfortable questions and feel like it's justified. Well, why are you asking me all that, right? Look, remember, I'm just trying to figure out if I did a good job, So, I mean, I think it's a good stuff that Sean said. You could leverage some of that. I was thinking of this. You want a really good closer on this. So there's leverage another good closer in your market if possible, because it's pretty much just a deeper sales skill to have or sales tactic to have is just to go deeper on these survey calls.
Got it. All right. Appreciate that.
For sure.
Awesome.
What else we got?
I had a quick question for you, Gino. So lately I've been running into a bunch of issues with what you were talking about earlier, where you're ready to have the offer call. You are about to have the offer call with the individual, and they are like, "Oh, well, I'm not at a computer right now," right? So, of course, I've been essentially saying, "Okay, so when will you be at a computer, and we'll just schedule it then." So we schedule it for then, and it just like almost never happens. Or when it does happen, it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still not at a computer. Like I'm just really busy. I'm always, kind of on the road, or hey, I had to go pick up my kid
Yeah,
from school, so I'm not there right now." I'm like, "Well, we had a scheduled call. Like, what happened?"
exactly.
So that has not been working the best for me right now, but they seem like promising, leads and whatnot. It's just the fact that, okay, cool, we need to put something on paper here. Um, so yeah, I'm
Perfect. So
trying
I
not to
love
be
that you
too
brought that
guilty
up.
of just
I
handing
love
over.
I love that you brought it up, Rosemont. So
Mhm.
perfect. Because it reminds us of some things we've had to deal with. Like, bro, I mean, they're telling you that, and in reality, is you can't get a hold of them again, or that,
Mhm.
like you said, they're, it's rarely leads. I'm not available. So let's role play real quick. So, Rosemont, are you currently in a position to, to be able to go over the agreement?
Yeah, I will be in like another hour. I'll be ready
Hour.
to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And are you going to be at your house then, or what? Why another hour?
Man, I got to go pick up the kids, and I'll be right back. I mean, how long is it going to take if we did it now?
Oh, I mean, it would take 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, do you have your phone?
I do have my phone, but I'm about to leave in like 2 minutes, man. I
Oh,
gotta.
gotcha. So you're gonna leave in 2 minutes. All right. So
Yeah.
do you think I mean, if I gave you a call back in an hour, do you think it would be, you would have time to go over? And let's just say in this instance,
Yeah.
Ravon, you say no. Just say because,
Okay.
or say in this instance, you say
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean, well,
That's
pretty
what
much,
they've been saying though. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They'll
yeah,
say
yeah. I
yeah,
should be
but
able to.
let's say yeah, I'll be able to. Okay, well, if I
Yeah.
don't hear from you, and let's just role play that side of it. Okay, but if I
Mhm.
don't hear from you in an hour, should I just assume you don't want to sell anymore?
No, 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 no. I want to sell it. I want to sell the
Okay.
property.
So you will be able to answer me in the next hour? Like if I call you an hour, you said that you're gonna get them. So,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
4:40, 5:40. If I don't hear from you by then, understand it might take a little longer, but if I don't hear
Mhm.
from you, should I just assume it's a no?
No, don't assume that. Like I said, I do want to sell it. Appreciate the conversation that we had. Yeah, I am serious about selling it. So yeah, yeah, that should be fine, man. You should
Gotcha.
definitely hear from me by then. I can give you a call back. You can give me a call back around that time, and we'll be
Perfect.
ready to do
Perfect.
it.
So again, I know you said that it's not the case, but if I don't, I'm gonna call you probably. I'll call you, Rosevon, at 5:40. But if I don't hear from you before then, and you don't respond, I
Mhm.
mean, you're saying I mean, again, if you don't answer that, I shouldn't take it as a no. And what I'm trying to do here is like literally make
Yeah,
sure
really.
Rose
I
Vaughn
got
that he needs to answer his phone.
you.
Now,
Yeah.
let's go back to Rose Vaughn as if they say, hey, Gino, I'll be honest, by the time I pick up the kids, I come home, I just want to hang out with them. I'm not going to be able to do this right now.
Hmm.
Right. Then I'll
Hmm.
go ahead and sometimes I'll set up the offer, but then at first I'm going to ask them if they can go on the phone. Hey, once the other thing, hey, okay. Well, what if it took only about 10 minutes for me to go over that with you? I mean, would you be able to find a time maybe when the kids just get home, they could talk to their mom, and maybe me and you could just do it for about 10 minutes. And obviously I'm
Hmm.
not trying to push them, but I'm reading the seller, right? How do you feel? And obviously the seller's gonna, if they really need to sell or they want to sell, which isn't always the case, they're gonna find a way to do it. Or two,
Hmm.
I've had sellers that say, to me in the past, they'll be, hey, Gino, I'm just, my computer's not working. Oh, okay. Well, do you have an email on your phone? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And or even ask, hey, do you have an iPhone? Yeah, I got an iPhone. Okay, perfect. So you have your email on the phone. I'll just send it to your email on your phone then.
Yeah.
And that
Gotcha.
way it sounds like I'm helping. Like they'll say, oh yeah, I say, I just want to help you out. That's probably easier to do it on the phone. Then I do mine on the phone.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
or two, your wife is right there, right? Remember you said that she had to be on this call. Yeah.
Hmm.
So can we send it to your wife's phone? Your phone's not working, you said. And again, I'm trying to figure out the objections here. I'm doing a dig.
Right.
Reality is like sometimes we just have to give that offer.
Hmm.
We've have to give that offer sometimes. Hey, look, the thing is, the only reason I'll give that offer if there's a valid excuse. If they tell me I'm going to be home in an hour, okay, I'll call you in an hour. If you don't hear from me, I should just take it as a no. Again, I'm trying to implant in their head how important it is to respond to me. Or I'm going to just say to them, hey, 5 minutes, I'll just wait on hold. I'll wait on hold. Again, I'll go through this call right now, but if we agree on price and stuff, I'll just wait on hold while you get to your place. And even if they're 30 minutes away, hey, it's going to take me about 10 minutes for us to qualify, let you know how it worked with us and qualify this property. After that 10 minutes is up, I know you only have 20 minutes to your destination. And so I'll just stay on hold for 20 minutes if we have to.